Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael, or as the grandkids call me, Roo. Thanks for being on Roodoodles 857. Roodoodles Live, just call it Roo Live, because by God's grace, I'm on this side of the dirt. So, hey, welcome to welcome to the show. I do this on Mondays, Tuesdays, Saturdays, sometimes on Wednesdays. I teach a class, and I think I've got an idea that's coming through there. We're going to talk a little bit about ideas today. Is this what I'm looking for? Oh, this could be it. I believe it's here. Nope, that's not it. You know, rarely do I sit down and make notes before I start this show. And this morning, I woke up a little early, got in here with a cup of tea. I'm drinking Builder's today. Builder's tea. They're not a sponsor yet. Actually, hey, and I've put a call back out to the mugs. We think they're going to be available late May or June. My Roo mug. I chose not to go another mug. I wanted the mug that I got before. It's made by M. It weighs 1.5 pounds. It's fantastic. It's heavy. It's great for putting hot bacon grease in. It's great for milking one goat in. It holds your liquid. It's great for both hands. If someone takes your purse, you can take them out with this mug. I'm telling you, it's and so it's got the Roo right there on the front of it, and I like it. I like diner mugs. It's really thick and heavy. And so, it's if the squirrels get on your bird feeders, have at it. So I'm trying to get these things back in. So I've asked the printer that does some wonderful printing for us here in Charlotte. He's up the road a little piece from me, but and then the bug out bags are coming in. They're done. They're printed. I got to go pick them up, and then I will open a page and we'll start selling those sometime this week. Probably I'll put out sales, and I don't have a ton of them, but we get them in as we can get them. Anyway, it's got the head on there, so that's my commercial for tea, Builder's tea. I'm having it. Let me say hello to some of you. I know that was on the first thing on my notes page. I wrote this note page, and then I came in and started thinking I was going to clean up, but I piled everything over there to here. Here's what the desk looks like this morning. It's a little bit messy, this feeling inside. All right. So there it is right there. There's the desk. Let me go back to this headshot. Well, here, you can just look at all the above. There is the more and weird, wonderful word. There's some birds here. I'm into the birds big time. They're growing on me. Guess what? I told you I was going to paint 50. I've got 68 painted, 68 birds. That's counting 2 I sold in the auction, 2 I gave away to my granddaughters. Libby at the Gardener's Cottage in Asheville. It's easy for me to say, isn't it? She's going to get some of these. She wants to put a few of my birds in her shop there in Asheville, and but I'm going to keep painting more. And I'm going to tell you what's happening as I'm painting birds. Here's what's happening. I find that I'm tight. Isn't that funny? People are saying, your roos are so loose. How do you do that? And I go, well, it's just how I've learned to paint. Well, guess what? Learning to paint something new, you tend to get too detailed and too tight. And so I'm hoping that my next 50 birds, and yes, I'm going to stay at it, I'm hoping they'll loosen up. And so they'll just be a little more free, like they're able to fly. Right now, I feel like they're just stilted a little bit. Now, I do like this cardinal. He's just sort of sitting here on a branch, and his eye is really good to me. And what's happening is my visual voice style is taking over. And that's why I've asked you to paint things 50 times or 100 times, or not just to do some challenge, which is great though, because doing a challenge and the confidence of doing a challenge helps you do that. So I've challenged myself to paint 50 birds, but I tell you, if you want to paint a good bicycle, paint 50 of them. By the time you get 50 bicycles painted, the muscle memory that you have will start to really move in. By the time you get to 100 of them, you will see where your own style and how you make shapes and styles. It's why your handwriting is always the same. There's some things that just work that way in your body and mind. I want you to understand that about art. How do I know these things? Not because I was taught these things, because I've discovered these things over the last 10 or 12 years of just painting. Your style is going to come out in what you paint, especially if you because if you don't, you're just trying to copy what the other person did. And then pretty soon you're going to go, oh, I know that beak is this shape, or I know this head is this shape, and I know this tail flips out here. And so that's kind of what I'm doing right now. So I'm practicing what I preach and just doing that. Let me say hello to some of you. I got carried away there, which is, I know that's hard for you to believe that I would do. Randall Taylor Craven, hello, morning to you. Terry Tardy, right out of the chute in Coos Bay, Oregon. Blessings for being on the show. Deborah Spangler, thanks for being here. Kathy Pedroni. Susan Peters, keep the art coming, my friend. Denise Albright, morning from California, where Denise paints dogs. And some of them are hard to catch, so I use spray cans when I'm chasing the dogs around the block painting them. You know what I mean. I'm just kidding. Alice Durham, Kathy Morrow, thank you. Bob Hendrick, what does Bob say this morning? Morning from the little bit squirrely cornfields of Iowa. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, it's a little bit squirrely here. We had the friends on the back porch last night celebrating my birthday. Some of you are going like, wait, I thought his birthday was last week. So I'm going to be this age all year, I hope. And so you just throw a party when people are nearby. It gives you an excuse to do that. So I wanted for my birthday, I wanted a hot dog bar. Okay, I wanted these Clement hot dogs. Clement, write it down. They're not a sponsor yet. Clement hot dogs. They're made in Chicago. You can get them through the Fresh Market. This is not a paid sponsor. This is just, you need to, if you're going to eat a hot dog, eat a hot dog. Okay. It's bigger than a ballpark frank. It's beautiful. It's got the right casing. It's got the right seasoning. I cooked them over hickory, not charcoal hickory, just hickory wood. Just let it burn down into coals and laid them there. And then I split the bun down the middle and lay them in. I sauteed onions in cast iron, kraut in cast iron, mustards, ketchups, relish, slaw, because we're in the South. You have to have it. And you just make this thing that you go, should I eat this or just climb in it like a bathtub? And it's just marvelous. So my family was over, and then also a couple of dear friends came by, and we just had a party on the back porch. And so we were talking about painting and shooting squirrels with slingshots. You didn't think I was going to get back to that story, but I did. I took a food detour there for a second, which you're allowed to do. Woohoo! Morning. So Bob from the little squirrely cornfields. Jennifer, is it thistle or thistle? I like it's thistle, it looks like, but I like thistle because I've been putting out thistle seeds, but I'm going to say thistle. Let us all doodle with the roo. Kim Sheets, welcome to the show. Virginia Mann, Barbara Mayer, thank you. Irma, thank you. Irma is one of those gracious people out there that something just shows up in the mail because she says, don't feel bad about this. I just like giving things. I'm going like, what? She gave me a little brush recently and just some cool stuff. And this is not a plea. Please don't. You guys are doing great right now by giving some original art to people who are getting it in the hands of community that need your art. Get your art on a wall. Betsy Soblowski, thank you for being on the show. Brenda Tucker, Chenoa, thank you for being on the show. Laura Stanley Handelmeyer Henderson. Wish there were a Hoover in there. We'll have to put one in there. It's sunny here in southeast Missouri. Man, it's been beautiful here over the weekend. Donna Sell Barton, I thought of you this morning, Donna Sell. This is crazy, but this is what happens. I'm doing a little painting that you might like. Hey, Tom from Maine. Tom is a great artist, by the way. If you haven't seen Tom's work, he's posted on Roost Crew quite a bit. And Tom is one of these guys who will paint the same things over and over and over and over and over. I've followed you a little bit, and I see your work, and that challenge thing works well. And so he's got a real zany wit and a cool sense of humor. I like where you're headed. Talking about voice, that's a guy who knows what his voice is. And so he jumps on this show just to be inspired and be a part of the community because he's an artist, probably a successful artist. I know very little about Tom, but there you go. Laura Abbott, thanks for being on the show. Dorothy Beasley, Trish Brown, Ruth Ann Godey, glad you're on the show this morning. Janice Scott, Julie Walden, good artist. Annette Henderson. Annette, I liked your butterfly and dog together. Sally Ann Smith, like it. Mary Dakota, saw your name quite a few times this past week in the auction. Oh my gosh, if you weren't part of the auction Wednesday night, I'm still getting notes and cards and letters from people who said, it was fun. Are you going to do it again? Might have to auction off some birds if I just keep painting them. I don't know what I'm going to do with these birds. Anyway, Pat Brooks, thanks for being on the show this morning. Appreciate you much. And I'll answer your question later today. It's about a QR code. And yes, the answer was working on it, but it's a video. But you shouldn't be surprised. I'm working on it for a client, and I thought I should do this too. So great minds think alike, Pat. Good job. What pen do you use when the paper is wet? Lori Martin. Okay, Lori, I'm going to stop saying hello right there and answer a question. What pen do I use when the paper is wet? Okay, that depends on a lot of things. It depends on how wet the paper is. It depends on what you're needing to use the pen for. Are you using the point of the pen to be a little fine brush, or are you using it to line, like in my opening one, I use a pen tail most of the time, and here's what they are. Not a ballpoint, but I find that, and not a felt tip because they get soggy and then the ink doesn't know where to go. I use a needle point, so it's a needle point ball. It is a ballpoint, I guess, but it's needle point. And it's gel ink, G-E-L ink. And this is one of them I'm holding in my hand right now, is a Pentel needlepoint inner gel, needlepoint inner gel. And I talk about that sometimes in my classes when I do this. And I got to tell you, maybe I should just make myself a note here. Let's see. I'm going to write on this paper towel. No, I'm not. I'm going to write right here. Class. Okay, there's my note. I don't think you can see that good. And here's a, because I write like a doctor. This is a needle point 07. This is an 05. And they're both liquid gel by Pentel, Pentel. They're not a sponsor yet. Okay. All right. So there we go. That's that. Now, so I use that. And here's why. If it's too wet, you got to be careful on wet paper that your pen doesn't punch through. One of the rules in Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, the book that's getting closer and closer, no kidding. Had a little conversation about that book last night. It's getting there. One of the things about that is there's a place where when you teach kids to sketch, when you learn to sketch, when you're sketching for whatever purpose, there's all full of birds right here. That's full of birds. You should sketch on paper. Wow, here's a piece right here. You should sketch on paper like it's thin ice. Kids in second grade sketch like this. They're going to make a rooster. They go in like this, and they're going like this. And then if you wanted to paint that, you could never erase that if you tried, because I've imprinted the paper. But if I sketch like this is thin ice, and at any moment I might break through. I can see it. I sketch sometimes a little darker for you to see, and most of the time I just sketch with a pen because I just want that outline. It's part of my style. But if you're going to sketch beforehand, sketch light. So if I had to erase this, I could pull over a little. This is a little tri-tip. I could just pull it over and boom, it's gone. Look, if I do this one, I erase. I still haven't gotten this out of there yet, and I never will. Now, if you're using a layout pencil, which is this pencil here, maybe you're using this pencil as part of your art. Then I do that sometimes when I'm painting, these little birds that I was painting the other day, the little wispy birdies. I think I'm going to do one this morning. All right, let me get started, by the way. So I hope that helps on the pen and the sketch. Keep it light, keep it light, keep it light. Boy, I need, I'm going to get, I just train monkeys to clean up the room when I'm done, okay? Teresa, thanks for being on the show. Man, a lot of you people are on the show this morning. I'm so grateful. Thanks for liking my show. Thanks for hitting the like button. And I'm going to say much more about that. I will tell you this. Did I see my friend David Schnitzer's up this morning from Colorado? Like to see you. And Ash is writing a poem. Tight toe, he's tasted tater tots. Takes time when you paint. I just like watching, he says. Ash is a bird fan. He and I feed the birds. And people, when they've seen us do our program Stick Together back in the days, used to say, you two are birds. So that happened. Speaking of birds, I keep showing these because this is sort of where I'm going. I told you I was going to do cardinals and wrens for a while. And so this is one of the little wrens that I'm doing here. He's wren. Instead of when, I write wren. Wren isn't my turn. And this one is, and thank you very much. These are the two that I have. This is the one of Wren I ran away to join the circus. There he is right there. This is a little wren. See how tight this is? This is not as loose as I want to paint my birds yet. I want them to have my style of looseness because I like that. This is loose, but this is a little more, Are You a Bluebird Too? This is a little painting that I'm doing. And I don't know where this was going to go, but it's one of my favorites. And this is just a little pencil sketch that I've done so far. And I did some of these Saturday. This is a little baby bird. I'm going to paint one like this morning just for fun, show you what I'm doing. Here's a looser bird. So anyway, all these birds are coming. There's 68 of them so far. And why am I painting them? Because I wanted to paint songbirds, and I had to get better. You got to repeat. That's the only way to do it. All right. So let's get going. Two things happened today. One is I've almost let spring get by, and I haven't painted one of my favorite paintings. And so it's time for me to put on a little music and do that. Good morning from Alberta. Thank you for being on the show, Catherine. Glad you're here. Susie DeLay, good to see you. Raylene Culbertson, thank you for being on the show. Kelly Berger, always love to have you on the show. Overcast in Florida, Pat says. Linda, thank you for being on the show. Some people get a birthday week. Carol gets a birthday quarter. She goes for a whole quarter of the year. Yes, Kathy, I appreciate Hebrew Nationals, and I get it, but when you have a Clements, you will never go back to Hebrew National. So there we go. Nor Nathan's, and I've been there all my life. I'm just telling you, of course, unless you feel like you have to eat one, because it's a it's these are all beef. They're not I got to go get a hot dog. John Robert Small says, "Woo hoo hoo, baby!" And I'm telling you, I wish you were here. Jack Wolfenbarger, good morning to you, my friend. Glad to have you on the show. Beverly Schmidt, all right. Joy Eaton, thank you. Can't stay. I paint with 6 artists on Mondays. We'll have a fun time. Paint each other. Make it a holy day like in India. Just throw paint on each other. Would that be fun? All right, so boogie on. Here we go. I'm going to show you one of my favorite paintings, and I'm just going to sketch with a Pentel, one of those pens I was telling you that I sketch with. And I didn't paint this painting this spring. Do you know it's been a year since we painted this painting, and I actually sent you something to get started on and paint this. But look at this. It's the time of year when chickens get shipped out all over the country. So this is one of my paintings that I do. Here it goes. I'm just going to do, I'm going to start it right here, I think. I think everybody can probably see what that's turning into. Just a real crude little sketch coming down like this. Little three to make some rough places in this. And maybe there's a little bit of ground here, like so. I like doing the ground sometimes with a flare pen like this, just making these hash marks across this way, and then cross hatching it like this. That's kind of a fun way to do the earth. You go, that's what the earth looks like from 30,000 feet when you're in an airplane. This is one of my favorite little paintings, and I generally do this painting every spring because it makes me laugh and it makes me think of the post office this time of year, because not only are the post office handling your cards and letters this time of year, but they're handling all the little peeps that get mailed out. You know, they mail those people who get their chickens in the mail. They get them this way. They come in a little box. You have to go down and pick it up. But I think it's funnier if the postman had to deliver, which is what he had to do years ago. You know, you ran your postal route and you would have all sorts of things on there. You could get exotic animals in the mail back when you had comic books. My friend once bought an exotic animal for $30. He and his buddies put all their money together, and they bought, it says, own an exotic animal. And then so they bought this animal, and the post office called and said, is this Miss So-and-so's house? It was Miss Goins. I'll tell you the name, because if he knows I'll tell the story sometimes. And she said, yes. He said, well, we have something at the post office for you. It's in the exotic animal category. She goes, excuse me, it must be the wrong call. And says, no, it has Bill on it. And she goes, what? What has he done now? And so she goes down there, and all these people are standing back like this going, it's over there. It's over there. Get that box and just get it out of here. And this thing's going. And it was like a weasel or a mink or one of those animals, a little long, like a, you know, those little things that people carry. I don't know if it was a weasel. I can't remember what it was now, but it was like a, and it was just putting up a terrible, terrible fight. And so they would try to get it out and play with it, and the thing would just scratch you up and bite you up. And one day Bill picked it up like this and just punched it in the nose. You're going to love my animal stories, right? And that thing became the best little pet ever. Just needed a little friendly man to exotic animal discipline. So peeps come through the post office like this. They don't really, but I think this is one of my favorite paintings. And so I'm just going to take a small SW1 bamboo brush right here. It's a Yasutoma brush, by the way. think I got a surprise for you on tomorrow's show. And let's see, let's just go get this right here. The paint in this palette is All American Journey. The paint in this pan is All American Journey. Comes in tubes like this, and I just squeeze it in these little half pans. I don't ever close this. It just stays open. If I didn't paint but once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, I'd probably close this. Maybe not. Probably wouldn't. But the paint is just fine. It dries out just well. I'm not worried about mold or mildew or any other stuff that gets hoodwinked in there. Don't be paranoid about your paint. Hey, we got other things to be paranoid about. Don't be paranoid about non-toxic watercolor paint. I cut these off of the builder's tea box, make mine a builder, and I just put them on a little pin and put them on the wall. It reminds me to drink more tea. So I hope you got a cup of. Let's paint this morning. And what should I start with? Well, I think I should start with the mailbox. So I'm going to add a little water. Just remember what I do. I wet my brush a little bit. There's up here under my face, there's a little mason jar of clean water. I try to start with clean water. What I was saying before I rudely interrupted myself was that the paint in this palette is exactly the same paint in this palette. Sometimes when I'm using a bamboo brush, instead of pushing my brush down in the colors like this, I will just wet the brush and lay the colors in here just a little bit like so. And what that does is it's a little easier on my bristles, but it also lets me get paint back into the heel of the bamboo brush. And so why do I do watercolors with the bamboo brush? Because I can. I'm just putting a little water on here first, and I'm just going to go get some green paint. So I'm just going to pull in here and get some green. Why is my mailbox green? Because when I was growing up, it was green, and it looked rusty and green. And the other reason, there's another reason for that. Why did I choose green? I chose green because green and the yellow chicks are going to be a nice contrast, okay? So I did a little rust, and then I'm going to come in here and just, in my pan, I'm looking for what I might consider a mixture of a little brown and black and just create a little bit of a wood tone. So I'm going to drop down through here, and I'm just sporadically putting a little bit of water on this. Then I'm going to drag some brown through it. And it's just this simple with this brush. If you overpaint, what I've left in there, as you know, if you paint with me, I've left what's called holidays. That's letting the white paper show through. I have to go back and get some of this green. I got carried away before I finished what I was doing. Got to put a little bit right in here on the lid. And it would be a little darker in here because it gets worn off. Why? Because that's where the mail person scoops all the, you see that? I just dropped stuff all over it, and I'm going to leave it like that. Sounds like I'm listening to Spanish guitar. That's hilarious. That goes well with a country painting, doesn't it? Well, we could be in the country of Spain. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to get a little bit of gamboge over here, just rocking this in. Now, this paint has been dried for 4 days. I haven't put any water in here since the last time I painted, maybe more than that. So I'm just picking up a little gamboge on this brush. So I'm adding a little water, just picking it up, letting it roll down. And I'm going to go in here and just touch up these little peeps with some of this yellow. And I'm just sporadically touching them here and there. And there's a reason for that. I want them loose, right? I want them really loose. Go get a little more of that, put it on this guy down here. Because watch what I'm going to do in just a second. I'm going to come in with this big brush and just do a little detail work. Get up on the feathers on their heads like so. But I'm also going to go in here and get a little bit of orange. You can't see, it's right there. This is, I think it's pumpkin orange, but I'm just picking it up and I'm dropping a little orange in there. Why? Because peeps have orange in them, and they have some little black spots on the little pin feathers that are coming out right there where their little feathers are starting right in there. So that's what I'm doing right there. All right, so there's my peeps coming together up on top of the mailbox. Excuse me. I'm still fighting pollen. Man, everything around here is about this color right now. It's between this yellow and this green. Our car, my truck, everything. Well, my truck, I'm not sure what color it's been because I wash it once a year whether I have to or not. It's sort of like when I get a haircut. Once a year, whether I need it or not, I might be forced in. It was May of last year that I got a haircut. And so I'm deciding if it's time to do that again. I'm not real sure it is yet, but I'm thinking about it just because, it's like I can't take it when it becomes a maintenance issue. And I'm supposed to look nice sometimes. I don't know when, but all right. So there's that little one right there, and there's a little one right there. So all right, so I'll separate those a little bit when they dry out some, but you get the idea. Now remember, I cross-hatched this here, so I'm just going to sweep a clean, damp brush. How do I know it's damp? 1, 2, 3. Wash it out. 1, 2, 3. It's damp. I'm just going to sweep it across here like this. And then I'm going to go get a little bit of spring green and bring that in here. And then I'm going to get a little bit of brown and roll that in here. And then I'm just going to take this brush and let it roll like this. And so you asked me about a wet painting and a pen. Watch this. This is the pen tail. So this is a good example. And now I'm just going to bring that and just walk it right in here like this. I'm going to put some marks in my fence post or in my mailbox post, fence post. Could have been a fence post. What you can't see is right here. I'm going to need a little bitty brush for this. Right here is the flag. It's just right there. I left the flag in there. Every now and then in my loose painting, I like to just go get a little detail. That one roo is just kind of hanging on the, or that one little peep is just sort of hanging there. So there's the little painting, and here's what it says. It says, we're here, Roodoodles 21. Okay, so there it is. I could clean this up by adding just a little bit of a blue-black right in here on the edge of this, maybe some shadow just right down there like that. You come in and add a little more of a brown if I wanted, a little darker brown on one of these sides over here. This is where you just begin to play and have some fun with what you're doing. Okay, so there you go. So there's a little painting. We're here! Probably needs an exclamation point, although those are really overrated and we really didn't need to use them too much. But okay, so put some little marks in there. There I'm using that wet pen again just to give me a little bit of detail. Like I might go in here and put some screw heads in this, and then I might go and put a bent nail. It's a country mailbox, so you got like, I got to get over there and tighten up that mailbox. And you go like, right, you said that last year when they came in. So there we go. There's all the peeps climbed up on top of the mailbox waiting to be picked up. I'm going to let that dry. And let's put a little splatter or two on there. Let me just grab a little number something brush here. Here's a number 3. Dip it in the water. Give it a little blue, ultramarine blue. Use the handle of my brush. Just come in, turn it a little bit like this. And then maybe get some little earth splatters down here too. Just some little bit of brown, a little bit of green mixture, and just kind of go in here and give it some, dirty it up a little bit like that. Don't want to do too much. Don't want to overdo it. Don't want to take away from it. There you go. There's a painting finished. Okay. We're here. I think of those little peeps doing that when they show up. All right. So that's how easy it is to make a painting. There was a word I was going to show you this morning, and I decided not to paint it because of time. The word is this. Here's the word right here. I'm going to write it down for you real bold right here. The word is Limbeck. Limbeck. Oh, man, I hate I did that. Look at that. Just destroyed my pencil. And, I don't keep a pencil sharpener up here on the desk, so I have to sharpen it with my knife. And so Limbeck is a word that means... the best thing is it means distill, and it's sort of where ideas come from. Let me just read the definition to you. Hold on a second. Let me reach way over here and get the book I just threw on the floor. I'm going to paint a painting about this. It's to wear yourself out. Oh, I'm just Limbeck. To wear yourself out in effort to have a new idea. Okay? Where do ideas come from? Well, the word ultimately comes from an Arabic word meaning a still, S-T-I-L-L, or the analogy that you have to distill, D-I-S-T-I-L-L, ideas with your brain. So here's what some of us don't have enough of. Some of you sit down at a desk and you take out a clean piece of paper and you think, Got to paint something right there. I got to paint something right there. What am I going to paint right there? And the reason that I want you to carry pens with you all the time and journals with you all the time and little notepads and little notebooks and just be obnoxious about what you have in your pocket and little drawing pads and things like that is because as you're wandering around and when, like my friend Ash put a little poem together today. Ash, it's a poem. Go with it. Toe-E tasting. Teetotal Tommy took a toke of tea. Black cat backing up a big oak tree. Tick-tock ticking out of 2 on time. Last word looking for a line to rhyme. A sawfish swimming in a seesaw sea. But me, well, I'm only crying. So you can make a poem out of anything. You can make a story out of anything. It's in the book, right? Oh, everything is fodder for a story. But if you don't write it down, you'll lose it. Because some of us have a moment that we're still, but we forget to note it down. And so what you have to do is you have to have a little bit of a white space. That's why I drew this box. We talked about this a year ago. So I'm going to repeat some things for new people on the show. You have to have a moment where you have to have this white space. It's a holiday. Of course it works to go and do something fun. Of course it's the white space in the paper, but it's also the place where ideas come from. You have to distill idea. You have to think, what if I put this with that? What if this went with that? What if I did this over there? Did you know I learned something this week about Bob Ross? And I had no idea. I'm going to tell you 2 things I learned this week about Bob Ross that blew my mind, okay? He walked into the TV studio after traveling around the country showing his paint demonstrations and said, I've got an idea for a show. And they signed him on the spot. So maybe there's 3 things I learned that. The other thing is that he had auctioned off a painting one time and a lady came to get it. And she was had some disabilities and she couldn't walk anymore. And his studio was upstairs. And so people ran up the stairs and brought down the painting and they were giving it to the lady. And Bob was telling her how to be careful about it and how to do this. And she was weeping. She was so excited to have one of his paintings. And the producer of the show realized what Bob had always said was true. This show that we do too isn't just really about painting. It's about you generating ideas. It's about you gaining confidence. And I'm putting my own pieces on this now. He said, this show has never been just about painting. And I went, that's the way I felt when I started doing this. I started doing this kind of on a fluke to learn this software program. And then you guys got involved and you thought, oh, it's a painting show. And I'm going like, no, really a painting show because there are people who paint me under the table, paint me on the table, people who paint so much better than me who come to my table. But I love people and I love encouraging people. And I love storytelling, and I love when the 2 come together. And so for me to distill an idea, I have notebooks full of ideas that I write down, and I don't forget them. And I push them, and I push them to other people, and I push them to my family. My family pushes back, and we distill the idea until we think it's a good idea. Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, the book that's coming out, was just a crazy idea based on Pat sending me a drawing one day and said, you said this on the show. This is sort of about painting, but it's sort of about life. It's sort of about hanging out with other people. It's sort of about community. She didn't say all that, but she did in a sentence that I distilled it into that. And I thought, she is absolutely right. This has never been just about painting. It's about people getting along. It's about you sharing your original work with other people who don't have any original work. It's about you teaching a child to paint next year. It's about you saying, I want to keep my basics sharp so I can go help someone else get the basics down. It's answering simple questions like the one I had this morning. There's no bad questions. What kind of pen works best on wet paint or wet paper? A soft one. Okay, a soft answer turns away wrath. It's that sort of thing. And so Limbeck is, as a word, it's an Arabic-based word that says you got to distill an idea. So that's what this show's about sometimes. This show's about people distilling ideas and being creative. I was made to be a maker. I was created to be a creator. Not a creator, but a creative person. Do you understand? There's only been one creator. All right. So So I sit down here and I read that quote this morning, and look what came to mind. I saw this little sketch. I saw a little rooster sitting at a desk chair with his head popped down on the desk with all these books, just thinking, what I need is a little white space. I had one of those yesterday morning. I took my teacup and I walked outside. The birds were chirping. It was 55 degrees. It was just perfect. The neighborhood was as quiet as it could be. And I stood there. Squirrels were beginning to mingle a little bit. They were getting a little squirrely, as Bob says, in the cornfields. And I thought of a song by Dvorak, Almost Home. And I thought of the words that Garrison Keillor had written to that. And I just stood there and let it distill in my mind. And I constructed the verse back together in my head. Morning light, cool and bright, woe begone revealed. And I went, I need the rest of those lyrics. And I remember the whole song. And I put it together and I sang it to myself just on the porch quietly. I had one of those moments. And it made me think about being creative. Limbeck is a cool old word, okay? I was going to paint it for you, but I want to paint you something else. I painted you that one. Now let me run and paint something else. Poultry chicks are ordered by 4-H'ers every spring, a 4-H project. They learn to care for them. By the way, my family's first chickens, Linda or Virginia, came from 4-H. Yes, my dad would order 100 Rhode Island Reds, and those peeps would come, and I would sit down, and they would just crawl all over me. It was probably about the most crazy thing I ever did. You just moved me to tears, Sabine says. I came to the show about 8 months ago, and you, as well as the nice people, have given me so much. I keep on telling people about you because you help me connect my own creativity like nobody else. Whoa, thank you. And I love to be still on this journey with you. Well, thank you, Sabine. And you're in Germany, and that's a long way to reach out. And so my point is this. You all on this community are reaching out to other people. Can you keep doing that? Can you just keep doing that? It is so cool that you're doing that. I've got another painting that I wanted to do for you this morning, and I think it's going to be a fun one. I've also got two. I don't know if I get them both done, but I had notes, but I lost them. Okay, so why am I using a big piece of Kilimanjaro? Are you a bluebird too? Here's an idea. Yeah, I just painted that one. I have that painting over here. Are you a bluebird too? I showed you that, didn't I, Annette? Okay, here we go. I'll show it to you. This is Kilimanjaro 140 Bright. Some of you have ordered this paper. Some of you sent me photographs this week of ordering this paper. This is Joe Miller's approved brand. It's 100% pure rag cotton. It's hard to paint on at times, but when you get a painting on here that you love, you will be so happy with it. This is bright white paper. The whites show through so great. All right, here we go. I think this painting should be sketched with a pen. Just because I want to sketch it with a pen. So there we go. I'm just going to see what happens here. No pencil sketch on this one today. And so I need a little bit of a ground here, and I'm thinking it's probably going to fall right here. So I'm going to start the first little part of this root right here. And he's bending down. I like it sometimes when I paint these roots bending down like this, because it tells me that he's about ready to get in a conversation with someone. So there he is right there. I think you can see him. There's very little, not a whole lot of detail in him. We're going to push him out there in just a little bit. And maybe this foot's kind of back here, and he's taking a step, and here's what he does right here. And then over here, we got a little birdie. So I've been painting these little birds, so I'm just going to do this little birdie right here. So I'm just going to go, his little mouth is open like this. And he's just this little wiry bird like so. And his tail's not out. He's just got all these little scribbles. His feet are weak. He's standing out like this. Got his mouth open like this. You can see he's not doing real well there. Now I've established where my earth is. And maybe my earth is coming down this way like this. So he's on the edge of the hillside. And over here there's a tree limb that has come across. There's the tree limb up there. I just thought of this painting. And so early this morning when I got my tea, and so I thought this would be a fun little thing to do, a painting of combining the roos and the birds. And so since they're sort of birds too, well, they aren't sort of, they are, but they're really in the chicken family. So I thought this would be fun right here if I just scribble down a little bit of a a bird's nest on this limb. And if you haven't seen a bird build their nest in a while, just watch sometimes. They're just phenomenal. There's a little peep up. There's a little birdie right there. He's still sitting in the nest, except this one has fallen out of the nest. You see now what's happening? And so up here on this limb, I'm going to draw a pulley like this. You know, I love pulleys. I love Sarah Barton loves pulleys. She is a marvelous Rube Goldberg builder. And so all right, so then I think we need to put this right here like this. So this is how my ideas get generated. They're never, and so you think, well, gosh, is he wasting a piece of paper? No. You know, maybe I am, but it's a buck, you know, and so what if I am? And so I'm going to rough it out on a piece of 8x10 here, or 9x12, and see how it works. This one's riding backwards, and he's all up in the wagon. And so I would see I could change these already. I'd see how I do it a little differently, but I just want you to see how an idea might come together. And so this has the possibilities of all sorts of captions that you could have fun with if you wanted to. Let me spray this down. I'll use this morning for those of you who just want to see where this goes. This is a little misting bottle. I just wet these paint a little bit. Hold them out here. Just liven them up a little bit, saying, wake up. Okay, and then come back in here. Get a little water, and I'm just going to scrub some water down in here like this. Notice I'm not dipping it on a paper towel. I'm just letting the water get in there and get happy. There we go. What's the second thing I learned from Bob Ross? This has never just been about painting. I go, oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you for somebody who has gone before me, who has said, you know what, this works. I got to tell you, the next thing that I'm reading about Bob Ross is that, and I had no idea of this, honest to goodness, no idea. He always painted in a white shirt. And I went, you got to be kidding me. So I start finding posts. I go online, I start looking, and maybe a light blue, but it's almost always white. And I'm thinking, he's got on a white shirt. How come? And I don't know if it was him thinking to the point of, I know why I'm wearing white on TV. Because years ago, when I was firstly doing TV production, you told people never to wear a white shirt because it was hard to light and it reflected on your face and all that stuff. And now, maybe it's because if he wore a plaid shirt, his shirt would mismatch with the paintings. Maybe, I don't know. There was no explanation that I could find. But I'll tell you what blew my mind was that he always wore a white shirt. For me, it's part of that. And so I thought, I wonder if he got his at Goodwill like I do, because at the end of the week, it's about ready to throw it away. You know, of course, I just wash these and I'll keep them about a couple months or 3 months. And so, you know, I went out to lunch the other day with Carol. She goes, you have something? And she goes, oh, never mind. You have on your old painting shirt, right? So, all right. So see how fast that brush, this is why I love bamboo brushes, man. This just rocks in here. You realize I painted that without my glasses on? That is funny, huh? So that way you get really, my style really comes into my Renaissance style of being, man, look at that. I'm not going to do much more to this rooster. I'm going to put a little of this color. Wait. I got a new color here. I used it first time on Saturday. Here it is right here. It's called Buff Titanium. Let me grab some of that buff right there and just drop it in there. Look at that. That's cool. That's all I'm going to do right there. There's my rooster. He's standing there. I'm just letting this come down and run as I see fit. Here's, we know this little wagon's going to be red right here. It's going to be a little rusty red radio flyer. We know that's going to happen. Bingo. That's perfect. Rusty red. Why? Because it's got a little bit of that in it. It also has a little bit of a green. I just like this rust. Everything on the farm rust. Come on. So for me, it's try not to make it too pristine. The last thing I want is a plastic, shiny, glossy wagon out on the farm. I want one that looks like it stood the test of time, that it's been out there and goes, man, what happened to that wagon? You go, it's rolled a whole generation of kids around this farm. That's what happened to it. for heaven's sakes. Don't you see how fun that is? So you got to get into the story, and it takes a while to limbeck, to distill all of those ideas. When you're a storyteller, it's not just about feeding the bird, it's about knowing a little bit about the bird. Now, could I change brushes? I could, but what I'm doing now is I'm just letting that green-brown tree kind of come into play here. You know, it's spring. It's spring. How do you know it's spring? Well, because the leaves are just kind of popping out on the trees. There they are right there. I'm doing this really crudely and fast, but I think you get an idea of where we're going with it. I'm storytelling. That's what I'm doing. And this pulley's got to be red because all big heavyweight pulleys up there, except for these little pulleys, and they're going to be a little orange. They're more of a rescue pulley. This is called a block. And so why would I know that? Because I used to design ropes courses. This is a little bluebird right here. He's got his mouth open. He's got a little yellow in his mouth right there. There's a little yellow, and this one's got a little yellow in his mouth here. He's a little blue. And so what this bird is about to get is a physics lesson. Boy, that just messed up completely, so I'm going to erase that and do it again. There we go. Got it. I might have to cheat in here in just a second. Not cheat, but I might have to go in and just get a little bitty brush and come in here and do this one with him because of where he is, and then just touch that with a little paper towel again. So I got a bluebird here on the ground that needs to be back in his nest, and I got a bluebird here that's in the nest calling out. I got a mama bird that's going, you know, I can do a lot of things. I can carry them mealworms and I can get them bugs, but I can't get, and I know that bluebirds don't, this is not a bluebird house. I get it. But, all right, so then I might just come in like this and just create some grass line here with this wagon going down the hill. And then I think maybe and this is not a good painting. My point is it's a storytelling painting. So if I'm with my grandkids, I'm going to say, so how can we get the baby bird back into the nest? Well, we could get other birds to tie the bird up. And they're going like, what? And I'm going like, then they could get in the wagon. And when the wagon goes down the hill, it's going to pull this bird back up here. And then, of course, the bird will be back in his nest. And if we get, maybe there's a tree down here or a rock that he only has to pull so far because we don't want to pull the bird through the pulley. That would not be good. All right. See where I'm going with that? Storytelling, quick ideas, sketch with a pen. Now, what would I do to make this a good painting? I'd take this and I'd write on it. I'd go, okay, smaller, detail, better wagon, tree would have to be redesigned. I'd have to redesign the nest, get the pulley structure. I want this over here so I have a little bit of more slack coming in just to make it look funny. And then I'd go back and I'd do this and I'd create the story. Then I'd have a space here where I'd explain what's going on, and that's my story. And I'd say, that block and tackle could hold 400 pounds. And, he's going to over-explain this to a bird who just wants to be back in his nest. That's one way we could go. Another way is we could go, okay, get ready. You're going on a trip. Or you didn't think you could fly? You're getting ready to. So there are all these different options that I go through in my mind. So what I do in that, I make them down here. I note them, what they could be. And then I go find that white space. I have another cup of tea. And I just distill the idea a little bit. And I think, what would everybody in the planet write on there? What would a non-creative person write on there? I think like an artist. What would I write on there? And so that's how I distill it. So it matters what words I use, and it matters that I don't say too much, or unless I just want to do a long run on, where the bird's going like, okay, good grief, I don't understand this. This is 7x19 aircraft cable. Do you realize that this cable right here, you could pick up the silo with it if you had a helicopter? You know what a helicopter is? So I could go down that rambling storytelling road, which makes a story work sometimes. I got to know my audience. So I distill it in a white space, and then I come up with it. And I might have to try it on another piece of paper. I might have to go get a piece of paper, and I might have to write it out and see what it looks like in the English language and see how it works. By the way, this is a watercolor block, okay, or a pad. And so what's going to happen on that is that this is actually a block. So it's all going to be glued down all the way around. It's glued down all the way around. And so what's going to happen is right in the middle, right here, there's a little place where they didn't put the glue. And I'm going to put this little tool in there. You can use a fingernail file, works great. A pocket knife works okay, but you got to be careful. You'll cut the paper. And this paper is tight. This is the first piece off of this block. So I'm going to run this tool down in there like this. And then I'm just going to slide it around the edge like this, pressing downward. Okay, edge not up, but down like this. Here's what I'm talking about. Look, see the edge? I'm rolling it down so the edge is going against the pad. I'm sliding it underneath. I'm sliding it all the way around. I come back around like this. Once it's dry, but I'm showing you how to do it now because we don't have any time. And this one sheet comes off and it's ready to lay in the floor. In this case, it's ready to go into the trash can because I know what my notes are and I know what I have to do. So how many times do I practice a painting? Sometimes I don't. But sometimes if it's a brand new thing and it's got a Rube Goldberg attached to it, or it's got other pieces that have to be elements in composition. Rooster over here, little bird, little tree, how to get him in the tree. I have to think through that a little bit. So that's where I'll practice some. All right. Wow. Airborne, 3, 2, 1. There you go. Up, up, and away. You're grounded, young man. Donna Buckley says, don't throw it away. It's okay. I'll paint a better one. All right. And so that one was made to throw away. I don't toss away a lot of paintings. Oh my gosh, you guys panicked the other night when I threw away was it Saturday morning? I threw away a rabbit, a bunny. Are you a bluebird today? Annette wants to buy that bird. Yeah, I'll auction that off. I will do that. But look, I had a bunny. Here he is right here. I threw away the bunny I didn't like, but I have this bunny. So I will auction off this bunny today. He's on 80-pound drawing paper. Somebody said, please, we need a bunny. And I just painted him one day. I like his face. He's just rascally looking. I don't do hardly ever any bunnies. There's a reason for that. I'm a rooster painter. And this, of course, has some crabs on it. This is what I do. This is how I distill ideas. I'll take this one out of here, and that'll remind me to do something with it. I got one more painting I want to do for you, and I won't finish it before the show's done, but I want to show you. My daughter came over yesterday, and she brought me these cedar boards because I was cooking out on the grill. I was doing my gourmet hot dogs, Clements from Chicago, through the Fresh Market. Beautiful. Brioche buns, split in the top, sauerkraut on the grill, onions on the grill, mustards, relish, slaw, just, no chili. It's chili's a wintertime treat. And I don't want anything to ruin the taste of my hot dog. I don't want any other meat or tomatoes. No. Anyway, so my daughter brings me some mesquite because she knows I cook with different flavored woods. I haven't used charcoal whenever I use real wood. She brought me some mesquite wood. She said, hey, I know you don't eat too much salmon, but Mom loves it. Yaya loves it. So she said, would you do some on cedar planks? And I said, yes. Or as she's walking off, I said, thank you for my boards. And I said, I'll make something out of them. And she said, no, you'll probably paint on them. And I went, brilliant. So I'm gonna try painting. So I was making my tea this morning. I'm dog hungry, Dorothy says. So this is a cedar board. What you do is you soak this cedar board for about 2 to 3 hours. And then, of course, you soak it just in water, lay a plate on it, put it in the sink, and just let it soak. And it comes out wet. When your grill is hot and the coals are just beautiful, good medium high, but medium, you lay the salmon on this board, and then you lay the board on the grill, and you let the grill the salmon through the board, and you get that cedar taste. That's how you do it. And the cedar doesn't burn because it's been soaked. But I saw this, and it said soak for 2 hours. Yeah, and so then I thought, oh my gosh, that's perfect. I need to draw a rooster on this board. So I penciled him on there this morning while I was making my morning tea, and it made me laugh. And so I thought I would just this music just doesn't go with this painting, but it's pretty kind of fun, actually. So you can't really hear it anyway, I don't think. I don't know if this will work or not. I know you can use acrylic on wood, and I know you could probably use oil paint on wood, but you don't do watercolor on wood very often because it just doesn't do well. But that's all I got up here on the desk, and I don't want for acrylic to dry. So I'm thinking soak for 2 hours. I should paint a rooster in a bathtub on this board. It says soak for 2 hours right there. Soak for 2 hours. So there we go. So let's see what happens. So I'm going to get some stiff watercolor and a brush. And I'm going to go in and just paint this with watercolor. And we'll see what happens. Look at this. Oh my gosh. This board's pretty smooth. It's working. All right. Let's get a little bit of yellow in here. Gamboge. Let's let some come down this way. I'll let that run. I like it. I like what's happening. I want some of that, what did I call it? Buff titanium. Let's get a little buff. Oh, wait a minute. Is this buff titanium? Yeah, that's buff titanium. Let's get a little bit of that in there. Oh, that's going to look fantastic. Look at that. Whoa. This is perfect on the board. And I think the tail feathers have got to have some serious ultramarine in them. So here I'm using this brush, just rolling it around in the titanium, in the ultramarine. French blue, ultramarine blue. For me, it's tail feather blue, which is one of my favorite colors. And I don't want to cover up that word cedar because I think that's important to this whole process. It's a cedar board for soaking, for grilling fish on. And so why would that offend the rooster, right? If it's for grilling fish on it. See there what happens? Now here's what's happening. The more water I put, the more this paint is loosening up and running into the grain. And I figured that would happen. So I'm trying to use drier paint as I can, but I want some lamp black in there also just to add a little bit of punch to it. There it goes right there. And just a little shadowing in those. I've got 5 minutes to go. Can he do it in 5? Let's try it. Here we go. Need a little bit of a red body coming down here like this. Maybe just a little bit of red, maybe dropping over the edge. There's some right there. Maybe a couple wings like we were talking about Rhode Island red. So we'll put a little red in there. I think a little touch of purple on the bottom of that red, just right there, we'll add. And I think I also want a little bit of, Terry Tardy turquoise coming in right there too. Just maybe got a little couple of turquoise tails. I'm going to have to mix up a little bit of gamboge and my yellow in here. Ooh. Up here and get some of this buff titanium and put that in there. Oh, that's going to be a great leg color right there. All right, going to look like I'm going to need a little more orange in there just because it matches the wood too much. So see, I'm having to temper my painting to fit the wood, the background. This is why I love to paint on ultra white paper. It just looks so fantastic. All right, so I'm thinking the color for this bathtub, though, would be the titanium buff. Yeah, after I saw myself painting it up there, I thought, that's bathtub color right there. That's going to be the bathtub. So look, I'm just rocking and rolling here. So what if I get into the paint and it runs down there a little bit? You know what it's going to look like? It's going to look like water, suds, and wet feathers coming over the edge. See how I used that mistake to just tell you what I thought it was going to be, and now you got that in your head? And you thought this show was just about painting. Don't you love it? All right, so, man, we're racing the clock here this morning because you got to go. I got to go. I've got a mountain of work to do today, and I love doing this in the mornings. I love visiting with you. I'm going to paint here in the morning, and I got this email today or last night late that said, you're expecting a package today, and I know the address that they sent is Torrance, California, and I know that's Yasutoma Brushes. And so that's where their headquarters is. Asian Art Supplies may be coming to me today. And if that's true, then tomorrow morning on the show, I'm going to give away maybe a bamboo brush or two. I don't know what all's in there. They're going to send me some demo things to try. They called and said, hey, we like the fact that you're painting with our bamboo brushes. And I'm going like, I like the fact that you got bamboo brushes, for heaven's sake. And so that's just going to be really fun to see what they come in with. So I think that's going to be awesome. All right. Look at this. It's turning out pretty well painted on a board. Just go in there. I might have to come back and put, as it soaks in, I might want to beef it up just a little bit. But so far, I'm loving it. Look at this rooster on a cedar board. It says soak for 2 hours. You know what would be cool on this? A little hanger here and a little hanger here to hang hand towels on in a bathroom. That'd look cool. In fact, I better not show this to my wife. I might have to sell it before she sees it, because I'd have to hang it up in there if she did it. But except I hand forged some hooks for our bathroom that our towels hang in. And yes, thank you for all the comments about the blacksmith shop. I am going to forge this this spring later. We're going to have a little. I'm going to figure out how to get all this stuff moved outside. Whoops, I don't like that. Too much green in that. Let me go out of there and get that out. Wash this out. How am I doing? It's 10 o'clock. Give me 2 more minutes and I'll wrap this one up. And let's see if I can get it to go just a little more yellow-orange for these feet. I'll put some detail in. I've got to do a glass of wine, and let's go with this good, rich red wine right here. There it is right there. There's a little glass of wine right there sitting on the edge. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is come in here, and I'm just going to do some little bubbles like this to see if I can get some bubbles in there. Yeah, like maybe touch those with a little bit of this, whoops, wrong color, a little bit of this blue right here. Just sort of touch those in there. Just make some little bubbles pop up like that. There, I use that pen. There we go, like so. And maybe a little water spill coming down on the side. Maybe a little bit of this. And then let's get some detail in here in my last minute to go. Like so. I think you can probably see what I'm doing. Here's a good example again of using that pen to bring in some detail on the wood. And these pens, man, they are tough. I love these pens. These are the Pentel Intergel. And I wrote Pentel a note and said, hey, do you know that a lot of people are loving your pens? And I hadn't heard back from them. So tough darts. That's the way it works sometimes in the fast lanes. And I didn't want anything from them except that I wanted them to know I was using it. And I also wanted them to know that if they had a hankering to send me some products, I'd give them out on the show and let you people sample them. So there is soak for 2 hours. We got a glass of wine, got all sorts of things happening here. So as this clears up, I'll probably go back and darken some of these lines. I might even go back with something as powerful as a fountain pen or a Sharpie or even a dark pencil. I don't think this pen's going to work in there. Yeah, it's not. So yeah, it might work a little bit. There's a little bit. This is a flare pen. This is actually a paper. Yeah, it's a paper-made flare. I thought it was. All right, time for me to leave. Golly, where did this hour go? It blew by today for me so fast. Working without an outline, working without a net. Roodoodles, right there it is. Michael, I'm going to put 421 on there and soak for 2 hours. Okay, so I'm not going to do a live auction today. No. But what I will do is I might put out a little online auction for a couple little items. And shoot, this might be one of them if it turns out that I like it here in a little bit. I don't sell a painting unless I really like it. I want some more foam on this, though. I need some foam. I need some foam coming up here. Bubble bath is what I need. There it is. I'll just put some in here. Poof, 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 like this right here. Maybe put a little club right up here on top of his. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay, and then I think I need to take some of this buff and just splatter that rooster with a little bit of bubbles, just like this, and let that soak in a little. And I think I got my painting. Yeah, I think I got it right there on a cedar board. It says soak for 2 hours. Thought of that this morning. I'll have to send my daughter a picture. Hey, thank you. So I'll throw this out there. Thanks for liking the show. Thanks for sharing my show. I really appreciate you coming on board and being a part of the show. It really is so much fun. I'm grateful. Thank you. And tomorrow, I think I'm going to have a couple things to give away, which is what I love to do on the show. And so, it makes it feasibly possible when people send me stuff and I go, hey, And I'll try it out before I give it away. I'm not going to give you something that you can't use. I don't need to give you a Saint Bernard if you live in a mobile home. The two just don't work together. Take a sip of your tea right now. Think of somebody you can bless today in a way by sending them a note, a little piece of art, a call, a text. I'm going to do that right now before I finish this up. Post this show over. I'm going to post this show over to YouTube this morning. So it's going to head over to YouTube. If you want to see my shows and you don't want to search through Facebook to see them, sometimes a show that I just goes really fast and I like what I painted, I will hashtag it at Roodoodles or hashtag Michael Hahn or hashtag Watercolor Roosters or hashtag Roos. And so you can go, it'll pop up on YouTube in probably 20 or 30 minutes from now. So anyway, blessings to you. Need a clause on that tub. Who said that? That's perfect. Thank you very much. I had that in my mind because I drew the tub with that whole indention of clawfoot, but I just didn't get to the claws. So I'll do a little more detail on here. That is a beautiful suggestion. Thank you very much. And I'll clean up some of this as it soaks into this cedar. It's going to lighten up a little bit, so I'll come back and probably brighten it up, and we'll go from there. I'm going to be out of here in just a second. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks for sharing my show. Blessings to you. Post the auction. It was fun. I want my husband to hear it. Okay. Oh, the auction is posted. You can go back on Facebook and see the auction. So you can see where everybody was bidding on things, and it was crazy. And today I have most of everything in envelopes, and I'll be printing out labels today, and those will be coming in the mail by Wednesday. All the things. Thank you for all of you who followed up and paid. I got some checks coming, but God bless you. And I'll keep you posted too on some kids going to camp this summer. All right. So took a portion of that. Carol and I are taking a portion of that and making sure some kids have their money to get to camp. We're paying for the camp fee and asking them to work for parts of place to get their transportation, other things, but it's good. They gotta own it too.